Welcome to Sow Chatty. I'm Kerry from Dog on the Plot.
And I'm Claire from the Farmyard Garden. Good morning, Kerry. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay. I'm looking out on a pretty rainy morning, but I think the garden needed it because it has
Yeah.
not rained much for the last few weeks. And yesterday, when I was on the plot, I went round checking that all the piping to my water buds was in place and ready to collect this rain.
Wow. How full is your IBC?
It's getting there actually. It's getting towards the halfway point. So, but
Good.
yeah, since I emptied it at the beginning of the season, when I was trying to uh, dig out the tap and do whatever I was trying to do with that IBC, and it has slowly, I mean, because it was empty for most of the season, but since
Yeah.
autumn, it's slowly been coming back up. And hopefully, yeah, if you can just see a little face in the corner of the screen there, I've
Look
got
at
Dory
her.
next to me. She's being a little bit of a pain. We're filming a bit earlier this morning than we normally do. And she hasn't had a walk yet as well because of the rain. Oh, did you hear that word, Dory? So hopefully she won't interrupt us too much. And you have to either go on the screen or on your chair. No, she can't decide. You never have Dexter interrupting you when we're filming. Does he
Well,
stay
I
in a different room?
he's in the house and I'm in the garden room. And I can have him down here, but he would want to keep going out onto the garden. So he
Uh,
would squeak and he does a very temper tantrumy bark at the door. So no, he's banished. And he has a friend staying with him at the moment. So my friend's
yes.
dog is here for the next few days. So I didn't fancy having two Brittany's wanting attention while I was down here. So no, he's in the house, banished, along with the rest of the family. They're all banished.
And what's your rain been like last night? Because you usually measure it, don't you?
Yeah, it rained. I felt quite heavily yesterday, all day long, and it was quite windy yesterday and Saturday evening. We only had 5 mil of rain yesterday. I was actually
Oh,
quite surprised. We were forecast 12 mil, but it was only 5 mil of rain. So I was a little bit panicky about our dog fields, whether they'd end up shutting if it got really greasy and slippy in there. But no, it seems to be okay. But we do have a lot of rain forecast this week. It's not particularly heavy rain, but it's rain and grey and miserable, proper autumnal weather this week. So I guess that kind of almost leads into the what's hot and not, because definitely what's not is the weather. The weather, it's not good this week, is it? It's not going to be good for gardening, for filming, nothing.
no. I think it's on our forecast. It's Thursday, and I'm sure it said like 20 odd mil of rain on Thursday. So
Wow.
I'm preparing for that. But part of my hot actually is the season because this week my aces have turned, and I really use that as a marker of proper autumn is when the aces start to turn, and it goes so quickly. But I've got
Yeah.
an orange acer and a red acer, and when I got up this morning, the first thing I do on my way to the bathroom is look out the back window just to see what's been going on. I usually look at next door's roof because they've got a flat roof to see how much rain we've had. Because if there's puddles on that roof, I know we've
Yeah.
had a good rain. And then yeah, look for anything that's fallen over or whatever during the night. And the aces, although it was this dank, sort of dark morning, they were just ablaze in the garden. So yeah, I've got the orange one that's near the house and then a red one that's near the greenhouse, and they look just stunning. But it's so fleeting, it's over so quickly. And the
Yeah.
other thing I noticed this morning is the ginkgo has started to turn, and that's always quite late in autumn when you've properly got the yellow leaves on the ginkgo, and that's when I walk out and the whole window is just covered in yellow. It's just this blaze of yellow when I look out. So I'm
It
very
is
excited
beautiful.
about these kind of autumnal milestones, really.
There's something growing in the corner of the garden, and I forget what it's called at the moment, and that's gone red as well. And again, when I look out of the window and I see those, it's that autumnal colours. And we can see from our house up to the country parks, and you can see all of the trees up there are starting
Oh,
to turn
lovely.
now. The view looks very different out of the window, even in the distance, to see that. So yeah, I'm quite excited by that. But then also, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Because winter's coming, and I don't
Yeah.
mind the crisp days, blue sky. I love that, but the greyness and the wetness, I absolutely hate. I hate it.
See, I'm fine up until Christmas. Like I like autumn, I like the colours of autumn and all of that, and
Yeah.
you can look forward to Christmas. Once we hit January and Feb are my sort of dark days of the year.
Yeah.
But I
See,
have to say, with gardening, now that we start sowing, because we start doing the chilies and the
yeah.
onions in January, and then you're thinking about tomatoes in February, there's something about that. And I think something just about being a gardener and moving with the seasons that is different from when I didn't garden before.
Yeah.
Like the seasons felt different before, and now that there always seems to be something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think we look a season ahead as well, don't we? Because we're planning for the next season, be that the next 3 month block or the actual physical next full growing season next year. I mean, obviously we get that with agriculture anyway. We're always planning through the seasons for that. But I'm hopeful, unless we get a really terrible winter, I'm actually hopeful that winter will feel shorter this year because the garden has extended its flowering so late into this kind of time of autumn that, when they finally do give in, hopefully we get a nice spring again next year. I mean, that is really, really pushing my luck to hope for that, isn't it? And then it will feel like winter has been
Yeah.
shorter.
Yeah. What's your hot then for this week, Claire?
Well, one thing, and it's this.
Okay.
And this is a pepper.
Is it Morris?
This is Morris. I finally have my own Morris. And we told this story a couple of weeks back now, didn't we? That I'd given these seeds out to everybody. And I didn't know that if I had a Morris growing in my little pepper mini polytunnel, but I do. And I had only 2 that were fully ripe. The rest were still green. But I mean, look how perfect that is. Absolutely
Beautiful.
amazing. So I will be saving seeds again. Couldn't be more thrilled that he gets to live on again next
Well, that's
week.
interesting as well, because
Next year,
obviously
sorry.
Morris is supermarket seed, and we're going to be talking about using things from the supermarket to grow in our main event, which is garlic for this week.
Yes.
So we will talk about that in a bit. So other than the weather, have you got any other knots?
Well, I mean, one of those is because of the weather. So it has blown over quite a few of my flowers, the wind that we had at the weekend. So some of the straw flowers have fallen now, some of the zinnias especially, just looking a little bit tatty. And there's leaves blowing off things like the French beans. They're all over the garden. Not that I didn't pull enough of the leaves off when I was harvesting the drying beans the other day. But that's it. But the main thing that looks terrible at the moment is outside the wash house. And I really wish that we'd gotten around to doing the groundworks. I mean, obviously that's going to become an autumn winter project for us now, but the weeds have come back in there with a vengeance. It looks so untidy, so untidy. So it's kind of, I really need to get that job done now and at least get it cleared off, get the hardcore down that's going underneath the pavers, and we'll get the membrane underneath that as well. So, just
Do you
looks
wish
a little
you'd
bit
covered
tatty.
it?
Not particularly, because it didn't take long to clear it anyway. So I know I'm going to cover it. I have the membrane to put down, but it just looks a little bit untidy seeing it. And
True.
the plants that I bought to go in the bed that I was creating out there have been sort of languishing outside the greenhouse all year, waiting to be put in the ground. So what I've actually done with those is put them temporarily into that flower bed that I put next to the greenhouse. I've just sort of healed them in over there for winter, because they are all perennial things. There's like echinaceas and I can't remember, agastache, that kind of thing in there. And I just thought, if they go in there out of the way, they've got the roots in proper ground, haven't they, for winter? And it just looks a little bit less sad seeing these pots of root-bound things next to the greenhouse.
That's such a good idea. I have all of these plants languishing
Yeah.
at the back door of my garden, and I could have just had a big box or something, filled it with soil and put them in, just so that their roots have got more, and I'm not having to think about watering all the time. It might seem like, why not just put them in the ground if you're going to put them in a pot? But it's where they're going. And if I don't know where they're going yet, or it doesn't feel the right time to put those in, then that would make so much more sense. I might put that on my to-do list for this week. That might have to be my thing to do for the end of the episode.
I mean, a lot of them have started to die back anyway, because that is it, like especially the echinaceas and things that I've bought. But I thought, well, just get that root ball in the ground. I know where they are. Exactly. They're safe for overwinter, and they've got the best chance of coming back next year. I've taken all of the zinnias out of that bed. So although it doesn't look any tidier, because I was going to fill it with pansies and things for overwinter. And I thought, no, these plants need to be in there. So for this year, that's where they're going. Because like you, I know where they're going, but it's just not ready for them yet. If the bed isn't built to put them in because the groundworks haven't been done, but we expected them to have been done. We bought those plants back in August. Obviously, then Mary went into hospital in the middle of August, and we've just shelved it for now. So yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is.
I think that's a great top tip. Yeah, I think that's really good. Well, I'm going to flip your not to my hot, because you may have noticed behind me the stunner that is this Dahlia. This is the variety Breakout, and it's been my best performing Dahlia, I think, this year.
It's beautiful.
It's a proper dinner plate size. You can see with my hand there. And I'm especially pleased to have this one because it's this pale sort of lemony yellow colour with pink. And I had hoped to get a cafe au lait this year. I grow cafe au lait every year and I have yet to get a bloom. So this one is standing in. The reason I haven't got a bloom this year is because I over pruned. You know, when your Dahlia gets to such like a good height and you kind of take out the middle stem so that it branches. I thought I hadn't done that with the cafe au lait, and I went in all gung-ho, clip, 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 realised I'd already done it. So I'd actually taken it down because I couldn't really see in all the foliage. I'd taken it down far too much. So I'm not going to get a flower on the cafe au lait this year, but I have got this Dahlia. And the reason that flips your story is because I knew the rain was coming yesterday afternoon. I was prepared. And in fact, I was prepared because I watched your video in the morning, Claire, and you were doing all these jobs that were getting ready for the rain. And I'm making my to-do list for the day. Okay, get the beans in, do this. And I knew those dahlias were out in the back garden in full bloom, and that as soon as that rain would come, it would bash them down and they wouldn't look so good. So I was, ready. Yesterday, just before the rain started, I got out there and I picked the dahlias, and I'm so pleased with them. They look so stunning. And I've got these little ones down here as well. Look at that one.
That's lovely.
I don't think you can see that one on camera. Can I just get that one? Oh, look at the colour of that.
That's absolutely stunning.
I think that's the Sam Hopkins, and it had, there it is. Look, one white petal.
Oh, yes.
The floor that makes it perfect.
I love that. And that Breakout one is very similar to the Cafe Royal, isn't it? Because there's a bit pinky. I'd like to get that one for next year. I've got 2 Cafe au laits, but I do quite like that Cafe Royal. That's my kind of colouring. That is that sort of pale pastel-y, but it's a dusky pink, isn't it? I do like that. So
yeah, because this one, the Breakout one, it's that lemony colour, and we know you don't like yellow, Claire. Even though you're in yellow today.
I'm in mustard today, aren't I? But yes. Yeah, I'm not a yellow flower lover. I'm not, to be fair.
Now, I've got a knot. Just find them. So I was filming at the weekend, and as the rain started, I packed up. And so this was off camera. And I thought, I'm just going to look at the cabbages. And I think people have had really good cabbages this year, but I'm not one of those people, Claire. So my knot for this week is I've got a cabbage selection here. Here we go.
Well, there's cabbages for one.
Yeah, each one is like a little dinner for one. So I was really excited to grow calabash this year. This has been the best. I put it next to my head so you can see how small it is, because it's dripping down my arm because I've been washing them. But even though this is obviously not the best calabash in the world, look at the colours on that. And I think if I peel it back, it should get pinkier and pinkier inside, shouldn't it? But yeah, so that's the calabash. And then I think that one's the green acre, which you grew my plants last year, didn't you? Did I give you seed or plant seed?
Plants. No, you
oh, really?
Plants.
And they grew.
They did.
Because they didn't for me, is my point. But this year, I did manage to grow some green acre. So that's probably one of the most impressive of that. And then the pixie cabbages, which are supposed to be small, but everybody's were giant. But that's my pixie cabbage.
It really is a pixie.
It really is. But I did get bigger ones than that. But that's the last one to harvest, that one. I've dripped all over me now. But yeah, cabbages I'm not great at. But so this, to me, is a success this year because I actually do have some cabbages to eat.
I actually do have another knot thinking about it, and that is Brussels sprouts. When
Oh,
I was looking for a Morris pepper the other day, obviously the brassica house is behind me, and they were absolutely full of whitefly. So when we've been talking all season long that you've been suffering with it and I've avoided it until now, they were covered. So I've actually opened the doors of that house now so that any predators can get in and they can get back out themselves as well. Now the ruby crunch, the red Brussels
yeah.
sprouts, those leaves have got powdery mildew on them as well. So I've taken loads of the leaves off, but yeah, they're not looking very good. I'm not entirely certain whether I'm going to get sprouts for Christmas because they're looking pretty dire, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say I'm glad you've got whitefly too now. Obviously, I'm not, Claire. But it did seem weird that you were getting away with it because the
Yeah,
whitefly has been awful this year. And yeah, I thought with the cooler weather that the whitefly would go, but it's still there. I brush by them and off all they come up. And on my plants, they've left such a thick residue. And in
yeah,
fact, in one of the patches where I had Brussels sprouts, these are not your ruby crunch ones that I had in the brassica cage, and I've done the same. I opened up so that
yeah,
predators could get in and the whitefly out, but I've closed it back up now. But the ones that are just out on the plot, when I would come by those, a cloud of flies would come up because I assume what the whitefly leaves behind is a sticky sweet residue that's attracting then the flies. And
yeah.
each of the leaves is covered in this black muck. In fact, Mum was on the plot the other day and she's like, you should come round and wipe all of those leaves off. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that would take hours. You know, I've got a lot of brassicas that have got that damage on the plot. And today, I was thinking, oh, perhaps the rain will have done the job for me. I think that's wishful thinking because it's so thick, but
But it would also make it easier if you did want to wipe a few of the
true.
leaves because it would be wet, wouldn't it?
Oh,
Instead of having to wet something to wash them off with.
yeah,
But yeah,
it's a good point, Claire.
I won't be doing anything like that. They are left to their own devices to some degree. But I wonder whether they've been a little bit more stressed because I didn't water that probably quite as much as I watered around on the main vegetable garden.
Well, we shall see.
We
We
will.
will be having episodes right through Christmas, so we will see what will be on our Christmas dinners. Not cabbages for me; these will be
No.
eaten way before then. I could freeze them. Just I don't know that I've ever frozen cabbage before. Does that freeze okay?
Mine has this time. So I did blanch it, and I mean blanched it for about 60 seconds. That was about it. And then put it straight in cold water as they tell you to do. But I vacuum sealed it this time to get the air out
Yeah.
of the bags. Because what I did find last year was that the cabbage went brown, sort of got a bit of air burn or freezer burn on it, and the edges of it went brown. I mean, it tasted fine when you were cooking it, but it didn't look quite as appealing in the frozen packets. But that's worked really well for me. But it's imperative you don't blanch it for long. Otherwise, it will just be a soggy mess because obviously it doesn't
Yeah.
take long to cook anyway.
Yeah, I'm tempted to do that just so that on Christmas dinner I can think, oh, that's my homegrown cabbage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any bargains for the week, Claire?
I haven't physically been out and bought anything, but that in itself is the bargain of the week, Kerry, because I've done quite a bit of seed saving. So in my video on Sunday, I saved 7 packets, quite a lot of seed in each packet of each different colour of my straw flowers. And, they're not cheap seeds to buy either.
No.
And obviously, as we've already mentioned, I don't like yellow, so it means I can sow more of the other colours and give you all of the yellow ones that germinate.
No, thank you. No, they weren't my favourite, the yellow either. And I'm not averse to yellow flowers, but the yellow straw flowers, they're quite a acidic yellow.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
strong. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to mainly sow the other colours, to be fair. And I've done the same with the echinacea. So I've saved some seeds from the echinacea. But what I've also done is shook the heads everywhere into the beds. And some of the seed heads I've shook and then literally covered them over and hope that they will just germinate next year when the weather warms up. I don't know if that will work or not, but it's worth trying. And what else have I saved? I've tried to save the cosmos seeds. I think I've done okay with that. The ones that are in the fruit cage that I really like. Jane from Jane's Growing Gardens asked for some seeds of those. Obviously, I'm going to save seeds from Morris and any chilies and anything else like that I grow. I'll be saving all of those seeds. So to me, that's my bargain, is being a little bit more sustainable from that point of view. She says, while she's also spent £86 buying seeds from King Seeds.
I only spent 40, but
Wow.
it was more than I thought though, because and I think in the past I've spent more. But when I was going through all my seed packets, I had loads, and I really
Yeah.
thought, I'm not sure I need to order anything. And yet, £40 later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was not bargain of the week for me. My bargain of the week is something that I spotted in Sainsbury's this week. And I've seen it pop up on social media as well. And it'll be up to people whether they deem this a bargain or not.
Right.
So it's Advent calendar time. They're all in the shops. And there is a seed Advent calendar that Sainsbury's has done this year. Now, I've seen, obviously, seed calendars done by seed growing companies and things, but I don't think I've seen one in a supermarket before.
No.
And it's £18, which is a lot for an Advent calendar. But I thought, well, if you get 24 packets of seed for £18, that's actually not bad per packet.
No.
But who pointed out, I don't know if it was you pointed out, but somebody said it depends how many seeds are in the packet. If you've got like 5 carrot seeds.
No, well, I had 2 Advent calendars last year bought for me that were seed Advent calendars. My sister got one and Duncan got one. And they were different seed calendars, but they kind of did share the seeds, but just on different days. They were very much the same packet. I actually found that they were okay. Did I think to use all of those seeds when it came to the season? Not necessarily. I mean, the tomatoes, for instance, were moneymaker. Nothing wrong with the moneymaker variety, but as we've already discussed, I was growing fancier tomatoes than the moneymakers. But there was loads of herbs in there, which I hadn't bought any herb seeds. So they were really good. I did use all of those and some of the flowers as well. That's where I know I gave you those, the Swan River daisies. They came out of the seed calendar. And I think the echinacea seeds that I initially sowed came from there as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I did use them. I'm pretty certain I sowed aubergines from them. It's well worth having. And actually, Kerry, we have a Sainsbury's not too far away from me. And I think I'm going to make the trip to Sainsbury's. If I can't find one, I'll have to order one online. And when we come back closer towards Christmas, before the beginning of December, I think we'll have to do a giveaway and we will send a seed calendar to one of our viewers.
That's an excellent idea.
I think
Did you just think about that on the spot? Because we hadn't talked about that.
We had not talked about that. No, I just thought that would be a really nice gift to give to one of our viewers, and we'll get that sent to them before Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, before the 1st of December.
They're definitely in my Sainsbury's, so I can pick one up. Okay.
Brilliant.
So that was the bargain of the week. I think we've covered our show and tell, because my show and tell was really the Dahlia. Was yours Morris or was it something else?
Well, Morris isn't the only pepper that I've harvested. And the pepper harvest didn't actually go according to plan, which will be in this weekend's video. So I don't want to give too much away, but I wanted to just show a few that did work out okay. So this is long yellow bullhorn. So I will be saving seeds from this as well. This one is seed that was sent to me from Ali at My Rusty Garden. This is large yellow Twingo, not Twingold, okay. Twingo. And then this one is Beauty Bell, which is actually quite a nice shape. They were all sort of,
that's lovely.
They don't have the nubs at the bottom. They were all like this at the bottom, almost like a strawberry, aren't they?
Yeah, like a heart, yeah.
But not completely ripe, that one. So I've picked the 4 best, let us just say, peppers to bring for show and tell, and you can see what's happening with the rest of them on Sunday.
I've been because that was our thing to do for this week, wasn't it? Harvest peppers and chilies. So we both got a good big tick for that one. Yeah, I did it too. Yep. Your other thing was the grapevine. We saw that in your episode this week, didn't you? You got that trained.
I've tied it in. I mean, I still need to run some wire across underneath the cross members. There is going to be a little bit of wire running across there as well. But even the strong wire that we bought, because I'm trying to get it to grow quite a way along the fruit cage, it felt like it was going to sag under the weight. So we were putting the wood across first, and then I'm going to be running a fine wire underneath so that the tendrils have got something to wrap around as well as be supported over the wood. Well, it's done. It's done. And I've tied it in and I've made the cut, and I'm quite hopeful that in a couple of years' time I might get a little bunch of grapes, because my sister she's had a couple of bunches of grapes on hers, tiny grapes, but so tasty, even though they're just like this miniature little bunch of grapes. But I'm hoping that I get something in the next year or two.
I've decided my grapevine is dead.
Oh no.
So it's over for grapes. To be honest, I didn't really have anywhere that I thought I could put it. And I'm not that fussed about grapes
Oh,
because
I love grapes.
I don't know. My sister has grapes in her garden and they don't eat them that much. So if I did want some grapes,
Yeah.
homegrown grapes, I could get them from there. But yeah, I don't eat a lot of grapes. And obviously the ones you grow tend to have pips. So
Oh, mine's
it's a bit of a
seedless.
pain. Oh, is
Well, I
it?
did. Yeah,
Okay.
I made sure to buy a seedless variety because I don't like pips. Well, I don't
Mm.
like pips. I don't want them in my jam, so I certainly don't want them in my grapes either. So mine is a red grape called Flame, and it is a seedless
Oh,
grape.
okay.
And it's supposed to be okay growing in the UK climate as well. So we shall see. Well, it
My grape
survived
was
2
given to
winters.
me. Yeah, my grape was given to me by my plot neighbour, so I think that was a pippy one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no great loss. So I'm not too bothered. Daft thing of the week, Claire.
Well, I think the only daft thing I did was go for that run and then couldn't walk for the rest of the week. I mean, it was fun. I had an absolutely amazing time, but how can 4 miles? I used to run ultra marathons and do all the training associated with that. And I ran 4 miles. And I didn't even run 4 miles. I mean, I'm making it sound like I did more than I did. And I didn't because it was walk, run. But it was not a couch to 5K week one. Let's put it that way. I did do more running than I probably should have done. And I enjoyed it so much. And then there was this little steep downhill section quite close to the end. And as I stopped to walk down it, because obviously I'd got Dexter attached to me, so I wasn't going to run down this hill because he runs fast and pulls you down a bit too much. And I walked down and I felt like I'd ridden a bike for 100 miles. I could feel my legs were jelly. I was like, oh no, I feel like when we've done these really long bike rides in the past. So I knew that they were probably going to hurt, but I was not quite prepared for just how much they did hurt. And it took me till Thursday, Friday before I felt human enough to it was Friday before I did any gardening, but I was struggling to get up and down the stairs. And I kept going upstairs to my mother-in-law's stairs, are deeper than mine. So I'm going up to her to take her some meals up or tablets and stuff. And then she'd ask me for something and it would be downstairs. The challenge of getting down the stairs, going up the stairs wasn't too bad, but I couldn't go down the stairs. And I was like, I need your frame, Mary. She's got a walking frame. I was like, I need your frame. I can't get down the stairs. Oh, it was hilarious. I felt like she was asking me to go and get stuff on purpose. She thought it was funny. But I'm all right now. So I'm ready to do it all again. So I guess that'll be the next Daft thing. We'll be doing it all again.
Well, mine is, I think, self-inflicted as well. So you've heard all the gory details of
I
this,
have.
Claire, but and I'm not sure, I can't be sure, but Mr. Singh gave me a cauliflower last week and I had it in water. It wasn't salted water, but I had it in water. It was cooked and it was on my dinner and I ate it. And as I put one piece in my mouth, I thought, is there something on that? I thought, oh, it's probably just a lentil. And I ate it. Well, a couple of hours later, my body rejected that dinner very violently. And I did not have a very pleasant evening Thursday night. So I feel like I should specify now that this was tummy upset coming this way rather than any other way. I don't know why I felt the need to clarify that. But anyway, yeah, it wasn't a very pleasant evening. And I think I ate a snail or a slug on my... And the real daft thing about this is I've done it before. So 14 years ago, this was when I was living in Birmingham, and I ate a bag salad from the supermarket, and it was one that you should wash beforehand, and I'm a lazy thing and didn't,
I am
and ate
too.
it. And I had a very unpleasant night that night too. And when I looked in the bag in the morning, there were the teeny tiny snails all in the bag.
No.
I'd obviously eaten them. So yeah, I had the day off work on Friday because I couldn't manage it. And to be honest, I'm still not feeling great now, but I did push through and garden over the weekend because there was lots to do before the rain came, and I wanted to make the most of the nice weather on Saturday. But yeah, oh goodness. And it could be something else because I did go doctors earlier in the week and we know that's full of germs there. So maybe I picked up a tummy bug there. But now I kind of fixated on the slug thing. And after you, Claire, sent me
I
down
took great delight in texting you that, didn't I?
Sent me down an internet rabbit hole of absolute horror of what can happen if you eat slugs. And I always associate lungworm with dogs because dogs have vaccinations for lungworm. I didn't think humans could get it, and I didn't think that it was called rat lungworm, which makes it even worse. But yeah, I feel okay in the brain so far, as much as usual anyway. So I think I'm probably okay, and my body rejected whatever
Well, I
it
did
was
say
that
that to
went
you
in.
afterwards. I did say, I don't think it was in your system long enough to cause you any real concern. But oh dear, every
You
text
do
that
have to be
came, I've been
careful.
sick 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. By the 5th time you text me, I was like, God, even I feel sick now.
You weren't the only one getting the tally either. But you always, when you're in these, because I live alone, when you're in these states, you feel the need to share. So everybody had to come along with me on that.
Well, I
little
don't believe in
journey.
suffering in silence, so
Nope.
I'd be with you as well. Do not suffer in silence. But like I did say to you, sometimes I'd like to help people out, but there's some things that I don't want to take away from you. You can keep that. I'm not going to take the pain for you for that one. No, thank you.
But it has reiterated to me the importance of washing your fruit and veg, and because I'm really poor at doing that, and I eat things straight off the plot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there are slugs everywhere, and they leave their trails, and the trails themselves can cause upset as well. So yes, I've been very good this weekend of putting everything in big bowls of water and putting some bicarb in there. I need to get some cheap table salt as well to use for cleaning vegetables. And I think because I had cooked the cauliflower as well, any poor slug that was in there was cooked, and that therefore is not as harmful as eating a raw slug.
I don't imagine it is.
This is making me feel bad all over again, and I apologise to anybody. We should put a warning on the screen, in fact, before this section, Claire, like I did in my video last week. I put a spider warning on my screen, and I got a thank you for doing that, because not everybody wants to see a spider on their screen. I'm holding my mug here. I realise we haven't done our mugs, Claire.
Well, you've got...
This is a change of subject.
If you hold it still, I think you have a Winnie the Pooh mug. There you go.
There's Tigger and Eeyore.
I've got retrievers on mine.
That's Pooh. Oh, yeah.
Oh, very cute. Very cute.
Well, we've clearly ran out of gardening mugs at this point. Mine says, doing nothing together is rather nice.
Oh, I like that.
Our last mugs for this half of the season. So we'll have to think about new mugs for the next half of the season. Okay, anything we haven't covered before we go into our main event?
I don't
you
think
wanted to
so.
share, Claire? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into the main event.
Garlic. All things garlic. We have titled this one. I have a question for you, Claire, but first of all, I thought, well, here's an opening question. Did you know, Claire, that garlic is thought to be one of the oldest cultivated plants in the world?
I did not.
Yeah.
I'm liking fact, Kerry.
Yeah, I'm doing my lecturing now. Originated in Asia, and it was cultivated. I think in China it was used medicinally, so that's what it was kind of cultivated for. And originally it was used as a medicine as opposed to a culinary ingredient. And when I was researching, it said even up until the First World War, they were using garlic juice as a sort of antiseptic on wounds and things. So quite interesting. But then we started eating it for flavour, and which is what, of course, garlic is known for, is this wonderful to most of us flavour. And it was introduced to England in about the 11th century, but has come in and out of favour over the years, and but clearly now is very much a staple of the British kitchen and kitchen garden. And we even have a National Garlic Day, which is the 20th of April, which I didn't know about until this morning. So we must remember to celebrate on the 20th of April.
That's a strange date, isn't it?
I thought so too.
It's not when you sow them. It's not when you harvest them. No. So I wonder why they picked the 20th of April. There's got to be a reason.
I think there are so many national days now that it's like just finding a free date.
Yeah, maybe.
So our viewers as well are very much on the garlic train, because 90% of people in our poll said they love garlic. So this is the question that I've been leading up to, Claire. Claire, do you like garlic?
I do not, Kerry.
Of course she doesn't.
No fanfare needed. No, I mean, I dislike garlic so much that I don't like the smell of it. So even if we were to buy something frozen, some kind of ready meal in the past, and I open take the lid off it, the whole thing is frozen, I can smell garlic in it instantly. I do not like garlic at all. I don't like the smell of it, and the thought of eating it, no thank you. But I will cook with it. So even though I don't like it and it repulses me, I do cook with it because Duncan and Isabel absolutely love it. So they have garlic with nearly every meal. And obviously that's quite a trauma for me, having to cook things that smell so repulsive to me. But yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I don't know why. Don't know why. I just
I
don't. It's
love
just,
garlic. I love it. I just love it. And our whole family pretty much, I think, loves garlic. I think we've joked in the past, especially when we were younger, because we used to take garlic tablets as well.
yeah.
I don't anymore. I eat enough, I think, as it is. But for health reasons, heart reasons, isn't it, as well? You take garlic. So we used to have garlic tablets. And although they were supposed to be odorless, they weren't.
No.
At least they weren't back then. So we always smelt of garlic. We were just a garlic smelling family. And I eat so much garlic, we may have a joke that I like sweat garlic. So you'll have
Yes.
to be careful about being around me, Claire. You might get a whiff and think, oh gosh. And I've never worried too much about garlic breath either. I've just embraced it. When you eat it as much as I do, you can't really get away from it. And luckily it doesn't seem to bother Liam too much, probably because anything I cook has garlic in. So he's eating it too, but he also doesn't have a wonderful sense of smell. But that was one of the things that people were talking about in the community page this week, was the garlic breath. And
Well, I dislike it so much that if they've had a particularly garlicky meal, especially, I don't know why garlic bread seems to linger more than anything else,
garlic bread,
that
love garlic bread.
I actually sleep on the sofa because I cannot bear to go. Because if Duncan goes to bed before me, I cannot stand the smell of garlic in the bedroom. So I can come up the stairs and I can smell it already. And I just turn around and go back downstairs and I sleep on the sofa with the dog instead. And I can't reiterate enough how much honestly, it turns my stomach, the smell of garlic. And yet here I am sat in a room surrounded by garlic at the moment.
I just said as we were beginning filming, didn't I? Oh, it's very fragrant sitting here this morning because we've got garlic all around us.
I used to smell of it a lot more than I do now because the horses have garlic every day. And they have garlic granules in their feed, and it's for flies. So it's used as a natural fly repellent because the flies don't like the smell of it coming through their pores either. And they have a different version of it now, and doesn't smell like it used to do. Well, actually, it's in the feed, so I don't need to give it to them as a separate supplement anymore. But you could guarantee it'd have like a bit like an ice cream tub, but a big buckety type thing, and you'd pull the lid off, and this powder would come. You'd like the smell of it. It used to always get on my cuffs as well because you stir in the food, and it's like the clothes would smell of it, or your coat for ages. Oh, I hated it.
I've always thought when I'm abroad that I wouldn't get bitten so much because I had so much garlic in my system that the bugs wouldn't want to bite me, but they still do. So it's probably a myth that,
I believe that
it helps you.
I believe mosquitoes and things actually go after a specific blood group. It's a blood group they like.
Oh, I must be that blood group because I get bitten awfully. It's funny about saying feeding it to the horses, because I was just going to say with Dexter, you don't have to worry about Dexter having garlic breath because dogs aren't supposed to eat garlic and onions and other alliums. So, yeah. Okay, so let's talk varieties then, Claire. Well, let's talk sort of the general types first before we get into varieties. So there are 3 types of garlic that you can sow: soft neck, hard neck, and elephant. There are advantages to each of those, but also cons. They say about soft neck, so a little bit smaller, not quite as strong as hard neck, but stores better, and you can plat. And we'll talk about whether we braid or not later. But I have found actually in the past that my soft neck doesn't store so well, and I actually think my hard neck has stored better. But it's supposed to be that hardneck doesn't store as long, but you do get slightly bigger bulbs, and you also get the advantage of the scapes, which is an extra harvest.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's elephant garlic, which you get beautiful big cloves, has a milder flavour, and is actually not a true garlic, but more closely related to leek. So of those three, Claire, do you grow all? Do you have preferences? Do Duncan and Isabel have preferences?
Well, when I first bought it the first year, I didn't truly understand the difference between hard neck and soft neck, as opposed to whether it gave a flavour. And obviously it doesn't. There's no difference in flavour, is it? It's like you say, one stores better than the other. And for some reason, in your mind, you would think that the hard neck would store better. It sounds like it would be something that would, it's hard, it's tough, it would store better. Obviously, it's the other way around. So I bought one of each. And if I'm honest, I did buy, so I've got a full clove here. This is one of my harvested Provence whites from this year, and obviously white. And then I had cork white as well. And I haven't got a full clove here because I was breaking them apart so that I could show the hard neck bit that was inside, and then it fell off it. So when you take the hard neck off, the stem does stay within it. Whereas when you take the soft neck one, I find that it pulls apart with it. So this is the cork white that I started opening it. And as you can see, my hard neck is significantly smaller than my soft neck this year. But my preference, and the reason why I bought this one, is because it was pink. I mean, I thought that should be quite obvious. I like pink. So I bought the pink looking cloves just because I thought they looked prettier. No idea why. Flavour, nothing like that. That meant absolutely nothing to me, but I bought those. But I do also have elephant garlic, and I have to thank you for the elephant garlic because you gave me 3 cloves last year. Now, only 2 of them came up. If you remember, they were so far behind everything. I didn't see them until it was well into spring, wasn't it? I think it was April time, something like that. And I honestly thought they'd rotted, but I got 2 that came up, and I now have 6 cloves to plant back again this year. So that's one of my biggest cloves. So yeah, I have elephant garlic too. Now, I didn't do anything with these this year, so no idea if we prefer the flavour. Well, I'm not going to, but no idea whether they prefer the flavour of them or not, because I simply grew it this year to have stock to grow again. So I'm hoping that next year they'll get to eat some of it.
That's what I did in the first year. I did try some, but I think I originally bought my elephant garlic cloves from Etsy. I think you got 9 cloves and some bulbils thrown in, which bulbils have never done anything for me.
I have a bulb.
There you go. Yeah, I plant them every year because when you harvest your elephant garlic, it'll be covered in those little bulbils, and they should, if you plant them, they will produce a clove in the first year and then a bulb in the second year. I have never had that happen. They go in the ground, I never see them again. But maybe one day, suddenly all these patches in my garden will have these garlic growing out of them, but not so far. So yes, it's... I don't know, it's my 3rd or 4th year growing elephant garlic now, and I have increased my stock quite significantly. So I've got a lot that I can use this year, and I've also put aside 30 cloves to grow for this year. Wow. So I'm going to have a big elephant garlic patch because I love it. So there's a couple of my biggest ones ready to go in the ground. So I've sorted them all out, and I've kept all the biggest to go in, and the smaller ones I'll eat. And yeah, I just really like it. They're much easier to peel. I like the milder flavour. You can chop them quite big into dishes as well, because it doesn't matter if you get a nice big chunk and eat it, because it's not going to blow your head off. So yeah, as a lazy person, elephant garlic seems to be the way to go. I've also got some monobulbs from this year, so I shall plant those ones as well, and hopefully then they will swell and produce cloves this year. But I do also have my other garlics, my regular garlics, and these, that's definitely a hard neck. So that's a lovely big bulb there.
That is a
try
nice
and put it out of the sunshine. And so that's got a pinky tinge to it. That's a white one. And I'm saying the pink and the white because I have been growing lots of varieties over the years. I probably labelled them at some point. but those labels are long gone now. And I tend to just pick what's best each year and replant those. And that's why I know the hardneck has been storing better and bigger bulbs for me, because those are the ones that I'm continuing to grow on now as the others have kind of been whittled away. So this is my saved garlic for this year.
Wow, that's a lot.
And you can see there's a mix of like whites and pinky ones in there. And what I shall do when I'm ready to plant is just pick out the biggest ones in there. And I will take some that are pink and some that are white, so I know I do have a mix, and plant those. But the varieties that they could be are Garcua, Pink Germador, Casablanca, Focamagama, never know how to say that one. We'll put that one on the screen. Clare's, which were Cork White and Provence White that you gave me. I've got one that I've got labelled here as Mum's Supermarket. And I've got one labelled as Becky's. And Becky has garlic that just my cousin pops up in her garden like a perennial. And she gave me a few of those cloves, and I dotted those around, less as one to harvest and more as just a plant in the garden that is a companion plant for other things. So a real selection, but they've been whittled. And now I couldn't tell you what the dominant garlic is in all of those.
Well, they don't taste any different, do they?
They don't really, no. I don't think so. I'm sure a connoisseur of garlic would say that there are differences between each one. But really, I think that difference is so slight, and you want the one that's going to grow well for you in your climate and in your soil. Yeah. So I think trying lots of different ones and seeing which is the one that grows the best. And elephant garlic always grows well for me. And so that's why I'm investing more in that. I will still grow regular garlic, but I really like the garlic, but not everybody does. So Kerry with a C, in our comments this week said she didn't like the taste of elephant garlic, and it came across as bitter to her, which I've never experienced. And she wondered if it was one of those love it, hate it, or like your body reacts to it like coriander and things like that. So and we did have someone actually say that they were allergic to garlic completely. So I think that was Dotty and Squeak. And I'm like, oh, you poor thing, because I wouldn't want to live without garlic. I don't think that's a bit of extreme, but I do really, really love garlic. And some people said about being on FODMAP diets, and therefore you don't eat garlic on those.
No.
But I think, did one person say you could still eat the greens?
They can eat the scapes. Yeah, the greens. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got quite a range of garlics. How are we growing them, Claire? Are you growing them this week? Soon? Already done?
Well, it's my birthday at the end of the month, so that's normally the day that I plant them. This year I'm debating whether to just get them in the ground this week, because I was only a couple of days late last year in planting them, so I didn't get to plant them on my birthday. And I found that they hadn't really done anything before winter hit and the frosts hit. And then they seem to be really slow to come back and get going again in spring. I feel like I kind of just want them to be, you only kind of want them to be kind of up like this, don't you?
You just want to be able to see them. It's reassurance more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm debating whether to sow them that week earlier, because we don't have any frost forecast, just to see if that does help. People plant them in cells and then plant them out, don't they, later on in the year? But other people say don't do that because it affects the size of the cloves overall in the end if they've been stressed that young. So, I think I'm just going to whack them in the ground. At the moment, the biggest problem I have is where I'm going to put them. Because to me, planting the garlic is full circle. It was one of the first things that I planted outside in the vegetable garden when we started it. So it almost sets the first part of your plan for the 2026 season, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because wherever I plant that is going to stay there. It's in the ground for a long time. So you've got to make sure that that bed is okay to be used until sort of June, July next year. So I don't know where I'm going to put it. I have a few empty beds, but none of those were beds that I thought I wanted garlic to be in. Because it's covered, I like to put garlic a bit further down the plot, sort of not right outside the polytunnel, so that I don't like having to look at covers outside the polytunnel.
You had garlic in a bed that was really wet, didn't you? Because that was your worry about my elephant garlic, was that it rotted off because the soil had got so drenched.
Wet. The water table was high. And obviously,
let's go with that.
The elephant garlic is planted so much deeper in the ground than
Yeah.
normal garlic as well, isn't it? And so that's the reason. I mean, the normal garlic, absolutely fine. It doesn't hit the water table. But when I planted this, I remember, or not this particular, well, I mean, I would have done. It grew from one that I planted. When I planted that last year, I was finding the water table trickling into the holes that I was digging. And we did have a wet early part of winter, didn't we? Spring was brilliant, but winter itself was actually quite wet. So yeah, it is a little bit of a concern. And one of the things that I'm being very mindful to do, because I have plenty of garlic saved this year, and I've got one, I'm looking at it next to me. I've got one next to me that I opened the clove up, because obviously you only open the elephant garlic, don't you, to store that so that it dries or cures all the way through. But these should actually be stored whole, which is why these are still left whole. But I wanted to open this one to show that I'll be planting the ones that look like this. So obviously this is, for me, one of my bigger cloves for the normal cork white. But what I won't be doing are planting the little ones like this. Unless I was desperate because I didn't have much garlic stored, I won't be planting the little ones like that, because, like you've just said, you're planting the bigger, stronger cloves that you've got to get the best return possible, give you the best chance of a good return and a good harvest. So yeah, be mindful. I'm not planting the little teeny tiny cloves, and anything that feels soft. So I've got this one here that I brought in, and you can see it's, I don't know
Not
which
good.
one that came. Oh, look, you can see all bits coming out. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's all mold, I think, coming out of that now. So I won't be planting anything that feels a bit soft and squidgy. Do not put that in the ground.
The word I was thinking of, Claire, was saturated.
Saturated.
Good word, yes.
That's a good
yes,
word.
I'm the same. I will only plant the biggest and the bestest when I break open. I don't break open the bulbs until I'm ready to plant, just before. You also want to make sure the base plate is intact when you break them open, so be careful breaking them open. And of course, you plant pointy end up. And you said about depth, and so regular garlic you want just under the surface of the soil, really. But elephant garlic, I tend to go the whole length of the bulb down again. So like you would plant a spring bulb. I think spring bulbs you usually do two, don't you, down? But you want it at least once down for the garlic. But I feel that about planting a little bit earlier this year in order to have that reassurance that they are doing okay. And actually, I should just learn from year to year now that they will come up. They're pretty hardy garlic, and they will eventually emerge. But last year, I obviously planted my garlic really late because I was on the new plot. So I was moving across, and I don't think it was till late December that I got my garlic in. So there wasn't much expectation of anything coming up before the spring, but it did. So, but this year, I think I'm going to plant it at the beginning of November. I was kind of thinking at end of October, but I'm not sure I fully adhere to this or believe in this. But there is a sort of philosophy of gardening about gardening with the moon, and when the moon kind of draws moisture up and so there are better times to plant things that grow underground and better times to plant things that grow up overground. And I have this beautiful little almanac that I've been reading this year, and it has in it these phases for gardening according to the moon. And one of them was that the end of October is not so good for root things or things that grow under the ground. And so it says to plant your garlic from the 5th of November. There's like a week or two window from the 5th of November. So just like you're kind of like, I'm going to plant on my birthday, you kind of use a marker. I thought maybe I could use that as a marker to think, although I'm not quite sure I fully agree with. I would be interested to see what people say in the comments, whether they've had experience of this kind of gardening. Is it called biodynamic gardening? Am I making that up?
I know the phases of the moon, but I didn't understand what the correlation of that was to growing. So you explaining that it's drawing there's more moisture makes it doesn't make perfect sense because I don't understand the science completely, but now I understand the reason why people would do that. I mean, we should point out that there is actually no rush whatsoever, is there? Because the actual old wives' tale is that you plant it by the shortest day, and harvest it by the longest day. And for us, generally in this country or in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going to get frosts that tend to come more so after Christmas than before, don't they? So it's not such a big deal because you need a period of cold weather for the cloves or the bulbs to split, don't you? But we did have a comment, or I had a comment from, I think it was Chris from Dusty Flats, who said that she wasn't going to grow garlic this year because it never splits for her. And I wondered whether I don't think she's replied to the comment now, but whether she does a period of vernalization in the fridge, because you can do that, can't you? You can put it in the fridge for a couple of weeks to make them feel or replicate being in the frost. Obviously, don't put them in the freezer because that will kill them. That won't work. But you can put them in the fridge, can't you, to try and replicate that before you plant them out. So I'd be interested to see if anyone has actually done that. And I'm tempted, because I have plenty of it, I'm actually tempted to try that myself, to put some in the fridge. Probably got some in the fridge, although it's probably been in the fridge for months, not weeks, and to plant some out way in the new year, sort of go past the wet weather and plant it sort of February time and compare the harvest, because it does the main growing from spring to harvest time anyway, doesn't it? Which is proved to me by the fact that the elephant garlic that had done nothing and sort of didn't come up till April time, never expected that would have split into cloves. I was expecting mono bulbs, but they did. So obviously they being in the ground over winter did do something for them, didn't it?
I guess they're putting the root systems down, aren't they? Because that's what I was trying to look about this on the internet, and it's kind of, there's differing schools of thought on whether it's worth it or not, or if it's a bit of a myth. And I can understand it being in a warm climate and you're not going to get those frosts and trying to mimic it that way. And I would be interested if people have done that and it's worked, because I was thinking it's about the stage at which you get those frosts, isn't it? Because January, February is really our big frosts, and at that point the garlic would have put out its roots, maybe got a shoot even if you can't see it. And is it at that point it needs to be cold rather than at a point where it's still dormant? Because if it's still dormant and it's getting cold, is that going to do the same thing? That's what I was wondering. But
I guess
again,
you could
don't know the science.
But if your significant other does not mind what you put in the fridge too much, you could actually start them off in a cell in little individual pots, and put them in the fridge for a few days, couldn't you?
That's true.
Because that wouldn't
I don't
terribly
think I would want that.
Them. No, maybe not. But you could try that, couldn't you?
Yeah. Okay, so we know where we're planting and we know why we're planting on this side of winter. And like you say, there are certain varieties that can be grown as spring grown ones. But I think for the most part in the UK, we plant in the autumn. They have that period of frost. It helps to separate the into cloves, and we get lovely big garlics to harvest by, well, you said plant on the shortest day, harvest on the longest day. Generally mid to late June is when we start pulling up. Is that when you'd be doing it?
I think I was a little bit earlier this year. No, mid to late June was right. I mean, I was earlier this year than last year, because last year it was definitely into July because I hadn't got the scapes. So obviously you don't harvest the hardneck until a couple of weeks after you've gotten the scapes, do you? Otherwise it's too early. And so they didn't come until much later last year. But obviously we had such a warm spring this year and things grew on so well that for me it was much earlier. It was definitely mid to end of June. It was only like 2 or 3 weeks earlier, but I was quite surprised that they were ready. And I had got no intention of harvesting mine at the time. And I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been, again, Jane from Jane's Growing Garden. Hers had rotted in the ground because we'd had such dry weather. And although they'd split, hadn't they? We'd had such dry weather, and then we had a period of rain. And hers had all started splitting, so they wouldn't store. So I thought I better have a look at mine, like what's happening with mine. And I'd had a look at mine, and they hadn't split, but they were, nice big cloves like this one.
Yeah. Oh, you caught that at perfect time, I would say.
Yeah. So that was, for me, I find keeping an eye on other YouTube gardeners and what they're doing, especially people. And having a little circle about, but people that are growing close to you, keeping an eye on what they're doing geographically, you're in the same climate as well, don't you?
Yeah, so I was looking at my notes a bit then because I'd made a note that it's a bit later for hardneck garlic, and I couldn't see it on my rather scruffy notes. But because I don't think I'd known that before. I always lift my garlic all together, really.
Yeah,
The scapes kind of tell me when the hardneck is ready. I've taken those off, leave it a few weeks, and then I just lift everything together, and that's generally
same.
fine. Yeah, but actually, soft neck should be ready a little bit earlier than hard neck. So perhaps if you do a mix and you find that some are splitting before, that might be because those are the soft neck ones. You talked earlier about covering, that your garlic
Yes.
is covered. Let's talk about that and pests and things, because as we know, I do not cover my garlic, or at least I haven't in the past. I might be in the future, but you do. Do you cover for the entire season? Do you cover at certain times, and why?
Mm.
Yeah, that was a lot of questions. Have a slurp of tea in readiness.
I cover for the entirety of the season. Now, I don't necessarily think that you have to, because allium leaf miner season, I believe, is April time, isn't it? And then again in September time. But to me, I'm not going to remember that exact window. And I think that those periods will probably be slightly different depending again on your season, how hot you are, up the country. I'd imagine allium leaf miner season starts a couple of weeks earlier in the south than it does in the north. So I just cover them when I grow them. And I do that for two reasons. One, because obviously the pest we're talking about is allium leaf miner. And the other thing is because I find that the pigeons and the crows are quite interested when they first
Oh,
germinate, because they see the little stalk and to them it looks like some kind of weird and wonderful green worm that they want to pull out of the ground. So I tend to find that if I just cover them, that they are protected full stop. I'm not going to get any cats digging in the beds, no badgers, no nothing going to come in and dig in those beds and disturb them. We know that you had allium leaf miner around your plot last year. We also know that you like growing in a permaculture, which does look beautiful. So you're going to have garlic dotted all over the place. Or are you? Are you going to cover it?
well, I'm not sure yet. Part of the reason is because of space. So you've been sort of, which bed will I put my garlic in? Because you've got quite a few free beds ready now. My
Yeah.
plot is still covered in stuff. I have lifted my main crop potatoes now, so more on that and the success or not of that in next week's episode. But that gives me a spare bed. And I've got a lot
Yes.
of elephant garlic, and I was pretty much like, right, let's get my elephant garlic in this bed. And then I stopped myself because last year, that's what I did, is like I had cleared a bed. I'd got a bed ready on the new plot, and I was like, right, I need to get the garlic in. So I just put it all in one bed. That does help for if you want to cover it. So that's in my mind. But on the other hand, I do have pockets in beds around where I could put things in. And therefore, if I did that and had it dotted around, it would work as also a companion plant
Yeah.
for a lot of crops. In fact, almost all crops will benefit from being with garlic because of the smell of the garlic deters pests.
Yeah.
I have a list of those: aphids, spider mites, even slugs and snails, and carrot root fly. All of these things, the strong smell of the garlic will help to deter from those other crops. The only thing you don't want to be planting it near is beans and peas, which I'm sure I did this year. I definitely have leeks near beans and peas that didn't do that well, so that might be the reason why. So I quite like the benefit of the garlic in
Yeah.
that sense, but then it makes it hard to cover against allium leaf miner. But will we have allium leaf miner to the extent that we had it this year, being that this year was so incredibly unusually dry and that the flying pests just had an absolute field day this year? We might not have that next year, because this has been the first year that I've really suffered from allium leaf miner in my area. So I'm
Yeah.
a bit of a quandary, Claire, and I shall probably do a bit of both. I'll do
Yeah.
probably a bed that I can cover and that secures the crop. But then also, I mean, I've got plenty. I
You
can
have.
just dot it around. And then if it does suffer, what I do have to say is that although there was lots of evidence of allium leaf miner during the growing season, after I had cured my garlic and my onions, they've been fine. Like,
Yeah.
I'm chopping them, I'm definitely looking, but there's nothing there. So whether they didn't penetrate through to the entirety of the crop, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not going to overly worry about it. And other things I don't have to worry about are white rot. Have you ever had that on the plot? Do you do anything? Yeah, I'm a bit
No,
like that, just
no, I've not had it
keeping the
yet.
fingers crossed.
And obviously, I mean, to be honest, I'm assuming that the fact that these have grown in my ground that was clear anyway. These, because I mean, that's the reason why you would buy seed garlic in some ways, isn't it? I would have imagined is because it's supposed to be certified disease free. So if I was to give you these, but didn't tell you that I've got white rot on my plot, then obviously I'm at risk
Yeah.
of giving them to you then, aren't I? So thank you very much for not giving me white rot when you gave me elephant garlic last year. But I don't have a problem with it. So I'm not thinking about it. It doesn't factor in my mind at the moment. Obviously it will if and when we get a problem like that in the future. I mean, I hope I never do, but never say never. I believe that a lot of people that suffer with white rot will either move it to a different part of the garden that they've never grown it in before, or actually they're starting to grow them in big tubs, aren't they? Like really big, sort of like the potato tubs, put 4 or 5 garlic in each potato tub. So it's completely fresh compost. It's not come off your compost heap. It's bagged, sterile compost from garden centres. And that's the way to grow it to obviously counteract the fact that you've had white rot. But I don't have it. I mean, you've never had it. Do you know of anyone on
No,
the plot that's had it, on the allotment
no,
site? No,
I
that's
don't think
good
I
then.
have. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I feel very thankful for that. The
Yeah.
only other thing I had on that list, but we'll come back to something you just said there, was rust. But I never worry too much about rust. It, like everything's going to get, all the alliums are going to get rust at some point,
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem to affect it overly.
I tend to find for us that rust isn't a huge issue because there's only me and my sister growing. Rust spreads, doesn't it, in close proximity. So, we don't have that issue. And I don't grow them that close together. I do give them plenty of space as well. So no, I'm not particularly worrying about that either. No.
Well, another thing you brought there is, of course, spacing, and I tend to be generous with the spacing, especially with the elephant garlic, because they will take up a lot, and I think it can be tempting to put them very close together because they just grow straight up like that.
Yeah.
So it feels like you can pack them in. But actually, of course, they want to swell and the root system below it and things like that. So yeah, I think I do at least kind of 15, maybe 20 centimeters between my garlics. Is that approximately what you would do, Claire? You're
I
probably
think
more
it was.
generous than me.
No, I think I went about 6 to 10 inches between them. So that's about the same, isn't it? Because I used the horry knife to
Yeah.
to sort of lay them out. And I was worried. I packed them in tighter this year than I did last year. I didn't grow many at all obviously this is last year. I didn't grow many at all in 2023 because, I only bought 2 cloves and I gave some to my sister, I think, in that first year. So, I didn't go buy 2 cloves, did I? I bought 2 bulbs. I find that so confusing. I always hold
So
it and go
hard.
cloves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't. I just planted the 2 bulbs. And then obviously there's more last year. But I felt like I packed them in quite close for me because I only wanted them to be in one bed. But actually, when I look at how close other people planted them, I think I was probably quite generous with them as well. So yeah, don't plant them too close together. Not at
And of
all.
course, you
No.
can plant in between them if you do put them a little bit further apart. That's to the benefit of the garlic, but it also means you can get a row of lettuces or whatever in between them later in the season as well. I want to
Yeah.
come back to what you were saying about a reputable supplier of garlic, because one of the things that people were talking about in the community page this week was supermarket garlic and whether you would use supermarket garlic or not. Well, I've listed that I have, and my
Yeah.
garcua was supermarket garlic as well. It was an organic labeled garlic that I bought, and it just looked so beautiful in the packet. It was a proper posh garlic. And so I ended up planting that. I have had no issue planting those supermarket garlics. They have worked absolutely fine. I know that some of the reasons why you wouldn't is because, like you say, there might be some disease, but there also is where it was grown. So if it was
Yeah.
garlic that's come from China or somewhere hot and you're trying to grow it in this climate, it might not adjust so well. But actually, garlic seems to be one of those things that doesn't really matter. It will still work. It might not
Yeah.
be as good, but have you tried supermarket garlic before, Claire?
I
Would
have
you?
not. I don't need to. So if my crop failed, then potentially yes. Although to me, I bought the first ones from the garlic farm, Isle of Wight. That's where everyone else was buying them from. So I duly got on that same bandwagon. Since then, I know that I can buy even some of the White Farm stuff from the local garden centre. So I still would probably go to a garden centre because it's not that expensive anyway. And if I'm really honest, I don't go food shopping very often because we have home deliveries. So I wouldn't go to look for it. And therefore, if I was buying it through home delivery, like you, I want it to know it looks pretty and I would want to pick a nice clove or a nice bulb, sorry. So I don't think I would, but not for any other reason than it's just an opportunity. I'm more likely to go to a garden centre than I am to go to a supermarket at the time I'm thinking of planting it.
Well, cost might be a factor because, I went to Sainsbury's this week, saw the advent calendar, but I also went and had a look at the garlic. And, there's a mix of prices for garlic and some are organic. And if I was going to use supermarket garlic, I'd probably pick the organic one. But I don't think garlic, you have to worry too much about inhibitors because some things you don't grow because plants might have inhibitors on them that prevent them from being homegrown from the seed or whatever.
I did see that in comments though, that people were saying that they've had things. Wasn't it last year? There was something from the Isle of Wight garlic farm that everyone's failed, and I can't remember. I want to say
really?
Carcassonne. I want to say it was Carcassonne, but that might be complete and utter rubbish. But yeah, there was quite a few people that had a complete failure of a certain brand of garlic, and I believe that the speculation was that they had put some form of inhibitor on it or insecticide that killed the cloves. Something, I can't quite remember the full story behind it.
But that's from a reputable seller.
And that was from a reputable seller, yeah. There was quite a bit of uproar over it. And that was definitely last year. I'm pretty certain Pammy and from Garden of Weedon and Eli from Eli and Kate had a complete failed crop last year, and they were both growing the same variety of garlic, but I did see it around Instagram as well. I just can't remember the names of other people. So that is something to bear in mind. I guess if you were buying it, you would buy an organic. The recommendation would be to choose organic so that it's not been sprayed with anything whatsoever. And so, and
they're quite expensive if you are buying from one of those garlic farms, they're quite expensive. And of course, we've seen the garlic being sold at Malvern, which can be incredibly expensive there, especially for the elephant garlic.
They sell these in individual cloves, don't they? And aren't they £2 a clove?
I think even more than that. But elephant garlic does tend to be expensive wherever you buy it. I think mine on Etsy for the 9, I think I paid about £11 or £12 at the time for 9, and I think that was quite a good bargain. But because that's when you bought some elephant garlic that was sprouting in cell trays from the supermarket. But that was last year, wasn't it? And wasn't it £2 for the tray?
I think it was $5.99 for a tray of 6 or 8. I can't remember now, but they did nothing. They just rotted in the bed. I think it was too late in the season, and I think they were very root bound. So I think they'd just gotten to a point where they'd pretty much given up themselves anyway. But no, they didn't come to anything.
I think they were Blue Diamond, weren't they? And I think what happened is I saw them in a Blue Diamond after you'd bought them, because I was like, this is a bargain for elephant garlic, because, you buy them at this time of the year and they're really expensive. But when I looked at them in the sale, and I think they were probably reduced to £2 at that time, and I'm like, I've got enough elephant garlic. But I looked at them and I thought, they do not look good. They just look stressed and just not great. And they were kind of sitting up out of the compost. And I thought, if you are going to buy expensive, reputable, seemingly, garlics or elephant garlic, and then you do have a failed crop, that's quite a loss if it's the bed or the soil or whatever. So there is a sort of argument for supermarket garlic in that, it's not such a loss if, what did Jimmy say, 22p from Sainsbury's garlic. That's not such a big investment then if it doesn't work. Okay.
No, and if mine failed, that is exactly what I would do. I think now I would go back and buy the cheapest I could from somewhere else for next year.
So I think we're on to storing. So we've said about when to harvest and lifting, being careful when you lift, I guess, as well, not to fork your garlic, which I did so much this year because we had this dry summer, the ground was so hard and compacted. It was really tough to get the garlic out of the ground. I'm going to send you some footage of that, Claire, to put over the top. And but yeah, ideally lift them carefully out of the ground, not damaging the bottom, because you want to, again, keep that base plate intact. And then they need to have a curing period. So how long do you do that for, and where do you do it, Claire?
Well, just to circle back for you again as well, is the other thing is you do not want to pull them from the stem, because if you damage the neck, you're also going to affect how they store as well. So whilst you don't want to fork them, you also don't want to try and yank them up without actually lifting from the base as well. Now, for me, I have the wash house, don't I? So I have an old-fashioned laundry rack, and I stored mine on the laundry rack in the wash house. It was just a perfect place to put them up out of the way and let them cure in there. And they cured very, very well. In fact, they cured so well that these elephant garlic and the Provence white were still there. I've only just brought them in the house.
Oh, really?
So they've been outside since summer, and they were storing out there. The rest of them had been brought in, but I just left a few outside. And, considering you're supposed to store the elephant garlic in separate cloves, I prepared this 10 minutes before we went on air. I opened these, and I was a bit worried that they'd be soft inside, and they weren't. So they've done okay in there. It was just the right temperature for them. But mainly that's all I'm going to do. I don't plat. I'd love to see more of the platting, but I don't understand how to do that. Some people actually don't plat, do they? They leave the necks on, but then they put wire through the necks, don't they? So they don't have to physically plait it. They just thread them onto a wire. And I might try that next year, because that sounds within my capabilities. How do you store yours?
I think that's what Charles Dowding does on the wire. But Debs sent us a picture of hers. I think it was Debs, wasn't it? Yeah, had put it on the wire. It looked great. I mean, the plaits look beautiful, but it's so much easier perhaps to do it on the wire. I store mine in a shoebox, of course. I just cut the tops off and put them in a shoebox. That's the easiest way to do it. It doesn't look so beautiful if it's hanging in your kitchen. But I tend to, well, this year I had room in my shed because I'd cleared it all out. So I cured them in the shed. So I had like the frames from inside, flimsies and things like that. So racking that I could put up. And I just laid all the garlic on those. And I left them there for probably 2 or 3 weeks. Probably a little bit longer just because life. And then took them all out and trimmed the roots, cleaned them up a little bit, took the tops off, and then I just put them in a shoebox after that, and they were absolutely fine. The elephant garlic I am pretty conscientious with, and I do tend to split that up. I think if you've got smaller bulbs, it's not such a big problem, but it's nice, not as nice big ones that I've had in the past, because I think they were just smaller this year because of lack of rain. And I don't water, but they were still a fairly good size. So I did split them up, and you do that just so that they dry right through, because it can be hard when they're a big bulb like that to dry right through to the center. And they've stored absolutely perfectly. And that's the other thing I really like about elephant garlic, is that will store forever, or almost forever, much longer than either the hard neck or the soft neck. And I was still using elephant garlic from the previous harvest only recently. So I like the plaits. I just don't have the time or patience to do it. I've done it in the past, but even the wire thing, I probably wouldn't bother. Okay, let's talk about eating then. And I wanted to talk about one other thing, which was smoked garlic, because when I was in I was in Sainsbury's, and I was looking at the garlic there. They had smoked garlic, and I'm like, I love smoked garlic, and they have smoked garlic at Malvern. Didn't Joe buy some smoked garlic at Malvern?
Yes. My sister bought some smoked garlic, and she bought me a clove of smoked. In fact, I think she bought me 2 cloves of smoked garlic, because she thought that she was buying something that you would grow. So she was buying a flavour of garlic that was called smoked garlic. So she bought them to plant, and then realised that she was supposed to eat them. And actually, my sister doesn't like garlic either. Really.
Oh, no, really?
No. Emily loves it, but my sister doesn't. I blame our parents, because my mum didn't like it either. So and my dad. So we never had it growing up. I guess that's why it's just not on our sort of radar or our palate. But she bought. Yeah, she did. And she paid a lot of money for it as well.
I know.
She was buying something to grow. Yeah. Yeah.
I bought jars of black garlic before as well. Now, I've never smoked garlic and I've never made black garlic before, which is more of a ferment. I think black garlic. I'm sure I've got a lot of fermentation books, as I'm sure you can imagine. I've read about it and it's something I would like to do in the future, but I have not been that adventurous so far. So if you're using garlic for Isabel and Duncan, do they tend to just have it thrown in most things?
Yeah.
That's
That's
generally
it.
what I do. Yeah,
I just
yeah.
squish it or sometimes I'll chop it. Sometimes I just smash it and squish it in. It just depends. But yeah, I just put it into anything that they have because they would eat garlic with everything. They're like you. Everything tastes better with garlic in it.
It's so
And so,
true.
yeah, it's the
But
only
yeah,
way. Sorry, I was going to say it's the only way that Isabel will eat potato. So if you make it more like a dauphinoise potato, then she will eat it then if it's got garlic in it. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just really don't like it.
I had mashed potato last night and I cut up a elephant garlic
Yeah.
and I steamed the elephant garlic with the potatoes or boiled them and then they just got mashed in within it. Lovely, lovely. But yeah, anything that has onion in, generally for me, also has garlic in. So I love
Yeah.
garlic bread, absolutely love it. And so you've got a big slab of sourdough, put some garlic butter on there. Perfect.
So let's talk about garlic butter then, because I believe that I've read somewhere that elephant garlic makes a better garlic butter than normal
I would
garlic.
imagine it would because when you cook, it depends how long you cook. I'm pretty quick with my garlic, under the grill out. So it's not going to get a long, slow cooking that would mellow the flavor of regular garlic. So because the elephant garlic is already mild, it's not going to have that kind of bitter, strong taste to it. So I would suspect that elephant garlic would be better. I like strong garlic, so I don't mind having regular garlic on my garlic bread, but I do tend to go for the elephant garlic over the regular for things like that.
See, now I've never made garlic butter. So how would one make garlic butter the correct way? Educate me.
Oh, the correct way. I do it the way my mum did it, whether that's the correct way or not, but I
Of
would
course
just
it is.
of course,
Mothers
soften
are
the
always
butter.
right.
Soften the butter, and then really you want to get the garlic as fine as possible. So a garlic crusher would be really good because that's going to release all the flavors. It's always better to crush rather than chop your garlic. I have one of those little plates where you rub, it's a like knobbly plate, and you rub the garlic on it, so it
Right.
kind of shreds it more. Yeah. But it pulps it really, and so that's ideal because you've not then got big chunks of garlic in your butter, and a little bit of salt if it's unsalted butter, and some herbs, mixed herbs or whatever it is that you want, and then let it firm up in the fridge. Or you can, if you're going to firm it up in the fridge, and if you're going to use it within a few days, but then you could put it into ice cube trays and freeze if you wanted to use it over a longer period of time. But that's how I would do it.
I need to make some really because obviously I make my own sourdough, courtesy of you. So I could be making my own garlic bread. And I think I may have touched on this last year, but I've not said it today, that bizarrely, I don't mind the smell as much of garlic that's from home. It's a very different smell than garlic products that you're buying from the supermarket. So whether it's because it is fresher or I don't know whether it's milder smell because it's not sat cooked and frozen. I don't know, but I don't find it's quite so bad. So maybe if I made my own garlic bread, I wouldn't be, I mean, I'm not going to eat it, but maybe I wouldn't be quite
Wouldn't
so
you? Would you
repulsed by it.
try? If you use the
No,
elephant garlic and it's milder, no, can't force you.
I don't think, no, I can't see me doing that. I just can't see
Okay.
me doing it. No.
Would you eat it in chocolate?
No.
So when I was researching, there is a caramelized garlic chocolate that you can
No.
make. It's roasted garlic in ganache. I have to say, even I would probably draw the line at garlic chocolate.
But then
They have
people
chili
do eat,
chocolate.
yeah, and and salted caramel doesn't sound right in a chocolate to me. I always think it's a bit like the digestive biscuits people buy. I like a normal digestive biscuit, no chocolate on it, just a plain old simple digestive biscuit. Then you get the chocolate ones. They're okay. Then you get the white chocolate ones. Then you get where they put chocolate orange on it or mint choc chip on it or caramel. I'm like, why ruin perfection? It was already perfect to start with. Stop messing with it. And I would say the same about chocolate too. We don't need chili chocolate. We don't need garlic chocolate. No.
I love weird chocolate, so I'm all for it. To finish us off then, 63% of people said the worst thing about garlic was peeling it. I also voted for peeling it. I'll take the breath, but peeling it. One of the other things, of course, you can do is flatten your garlic with the side of the knife to crush it. And that's another good release of flavors. And a lot of people chop it with salt, so you can thingy it around to mush it up a little bit more as well. But that's the great thing about the elephant garlic, wherever it's gone. Lost it now. Is it's so much easier to peel. So you take the base plate off and it basically just peels itself and throw it around the room. So that's another preference for elephant garlic. There are other types of garlic, Claire. Do you like these ones? Wild garlic.
Oh no. We have some growing. We have it growing around the farm, and it's like when I go out for walks with the dog as well, people go, "Oh, it's wild garlic season. It smells lovely." No, I don't like it. Just fast forward straight to the bluebell season. Thank you very much. No, I don't like the smell of wild garlic, but we do have it growing even around the garden. Don't you pick that to make pestos and things with it?
Yeah, I love it. And in the sourdough as well, it's really nice. Where we go in Wales sometimes, if you go at the right time of year, the woodlands are just full of wild garlic and bluebells, if you get them overlapping as well. And I'm just like, oh, I'm in heaven. This is just wonderful. Liam jokes, I just want to roll around in wild garlic. What about garlic chives?
I haven't grown them. I've got normal chives. I haven't grown them. Yeah, I'm just going to stay. Unfortunately, I'm just going to stay away from if it's got a garlic in it. No, thank you.
Hang on, because the last one I've got, although I could have put in garlic kale. I've been growing garlic kale as well. But this garlic one, I know you are growing because I gave it
you. Because you gave it to me.
It's garlic cress. How's your garlic cress doing? You haven't updated me in a while. Has it died back now? It should have died back and there should be regrowth. Or
I know where it is.
Or cut it off.
It's down the side of the polytunnel. I haven't done anything with it, Kerry. So it's au natural. So I don't know what's happened to it, where it is. I know where it is. I'll go and have a look shortly. But I didn't harvest it. I didn't do anything with it.
Well, it's establishing at the moment, Claire, anyway.
Okay.
It will just be warned, it will readily self-seed is what I've been learning this year. Because mine flowered, it looked beautiful with the flowers as well. I cut it down and then it's regrowing from the base now. And yeah, so but I can see little bits of it growing in other places now as well.
I'm a little bit worried because I did weed along there not long ago, and I'm a bit worried that I might have forgotten it was there if it has died back. I don't know.
Well, it's quite an unusual vegetable, garlic cress. You don't often see it. And I bought it originally from a company that was called like the Unusual Perennial Vegetable Company or something. I'd seen at a plant fair. And so I had planted it and then divided the root and gave you some. And I don't think I yet have taken... I know. You were like, I don't want garlic. You're taking it. But it has a nice flower as well. But I need to take a bit to put on the plot because it's another one that's good for just having as a companion plant as well for because it's strong smelling. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything we can say about garlic. That feels really comprehensive, though I'm sure we've missed something. And there have been things in the chat which we will have to come back to. Remember last week, Claire, when I said we thought this would be quite a quick topic, so we'll have lots of viewers' questions?
Yes.
It's just clearly not been a quick topic for us. Because we can talk about anything for ages, clearly.
Even things I don't like. I mean, come on.
So perhaps when we come back after our little break, we will do a Q&A episode. And so we can get through some of those questions that have been stacking up. So please do keep sending them in.
And are we going to have that as just sticking to gardening, or maybe if they want to know something about us, facts that we don't share on, I think we're a bit of an open book, really. Is there anything
I feel like I have definitely shared too much on this channel, particularly in today's episode about my digestion. Anywho, thank you, Claire, for another wonderful chat.
Thank you very much, Kerry. It's been absolutely amazing to chat with you again, even about a subject that I do not like. Thank you for watching us, everybody. We're still blown away with how well we are being received, and our little baby channel is edging ever closer to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are not subscribed to Sow Chatty, please consider subscribing, because we would really welcome that. As Kerry says, we're taking a little break now for the October half terms. So we will be back in the second week of November. And then we were going to run straight through until just before the new year, and then decide what we're going to do after then, aren't we? So a little mid-season break. You can have a couple of weeks off without us, and we will catch you again soon. So look after yourself, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.